Well, a new day has dawned, and we are to the point where we are working on the kitchen countertop. I've got the main frame put in. I have not done any of the framework for the cupboards and stuff like that yet underneath. I will work on that here in a little bit. And the primary goal is getting the countertop so that we can have it set in place and hopefully have the framework done for the microwave so the microwave can be in place, plugged in where it belongs, and then I can do all the final wiring for the microwave so that we have a working microwave that can be powered off the inverter. That's kind of the goal. But we've got the main countertop frame in, and we'll go up to stands. He's offered to let me use his shop because he's got joiners and other equipment I don't have, and we will use the equipment up there to put these pieces of, so we have hickory to build the countertops out of, and I will head up there to his shop and start working on joining them and gluing them together. So here we are at stands. I've got my wood laid out. I'm going to fire up the joiner and start working on getting the edges straight. Once I get the edge on one side straight, I'll fire up the table saw to cut them down to size, and then I'll get my biscuit joiner and we will start putting these together. Hopefully I will have them glued and clamped and setting tonight so that tomorrow I can come up and finish some work on them and get them back home. Well, got to it. We used the joiner. It's right over there. Able to join one side, and then I used the table saw to trim up the pieces because they had some, I mean, they're rough cut, so they had some minor issues, I guess you could say, with them. I did a biscuit joint every 6 inches. That's probably a little bit on the much side, but I figure more the merrier. And everything's glued and clamped. I used a level to make sure they're flat, and they are. So now it's just let them sit and dry, and then I can start cutting them and doing all that other stuff I need to do to make countertops. But we've got the start of countertops going, so that is pretty exciting. Made some good progress today. I'm building this in place because it's such a tight quarter, and with the door trim sticking out a little bit over there, I'm not going to be able to pull this cabinet in and out. I haven't glued any of the junctions yet, but they are all pocket screwed. I'm probably going to take it apart after we get done with this most recent trip to paint a lot of the pieces, and then I'll glue and screw them back together. But I've got the bottom section here laid out. There'll be 3 storage cubbies, and the microwave's going to be there in the middle. I'm going to be cutting a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. I think I've got some scrap that'll work. Just the right size, and then of course build supports underneath it and devise some type of tie down system for it so that we can hold the microwave down, and then have a spot in the back for the outlet. But the goal is hopefully for this next trip we will have a mounted microwave that we don't have to move around, and we'll have a countertop in place, and possibly this is like not too sure about it, but possibly a sink in the countertop. We'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a ways to go, but a good day nonetheless. Well, I've been working on the countertop area. I've got the base plate for the microwave set up, the supports put in for it. What I've done is on the sides over here I've drilled holes, and I'm going to put straps over the top to hold it down. And then on the base of the plywood I actually used a Forstner bit to put little dimples of sorts where the feet stay for the microwave, so the microwave sits in those and it doesn't slide around, and then the straps will hold it down in place while we're traveling. But the microwave is mounted, and I've got the outlet. You can see it in the back there. The outlet has been relocated. It actually is plugged in, the wires run, and then coming over here I've got, let's see if we can figure this camera out. I've got the switch box mounted and wired into the breaker box. It's not plugged into the inverter yet. I'm going to wait till I get the junction box. I'm going to go. In our past RVs, I found that if you pull out the control panel, the converter, none of the wires are in boxes. The connections have wire nuts on them and then wrapped in electrical tape just in case they do come loose, but that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get me a junction box where the wires for the switch box, and the switch box, what it does is it switches between shore power and inverter power, and I'll have the microwave and one other outlet in the trailer wired on that so that when we're off grid we still have power to 2 outlets including the microwave. And those wires come out and will join in with the wires that actually run to the circuit. I'm going to get a junction box and put all my connections in junction box. Might be overkill, but I just feel better that way, so that's what I'm going to do. But things are moving forward. I'm hoping to get the inverter prepped and ready and the microwave working off of the inverter. And then I think it's time to do some cleanup and get this thing ready and start packing for our trip, hopefully. Well, we're back at it today. So I got the straps for the microwave. They go through the holes here in the side that I put in the base. And then again, I put little indents using a Forstner bit for where the legs sit. And this microwave is good and solid. That'll be good for traveling and work really well. Not a bad height. And part of the reason the height is we want to put the sink in here, and the sink needs clearance to come down, but the drain's going to be in the back corner, so this won't interfere with the drain of the sink. I also got the junction box, and I am going to get the microwave outlet wired in, and then I can test it with both shore and with the inverter and make sure it's working on both. And then I think I am to actually cleaning up in here and prepping the counter space itself. I've got the countertop up, it stands. I was using his drum sander, and I ripped the sandpaper off of the drum, so that has to be fixed. But then I'm gonna keep working it through the sander. We'll get it fit. I have a piece of cardboard that I had cut so it fits in there really clean. I'll be using that as a template to cut the main countertop out. We'll get the hole for the sink put in, and I'm hoping to get the hole in for the sink and the test fit done, and then I can do all the finish sanding. The drum sander's using I believe an 80 grit, so I'll probably start with a 120 when I get home on my random orbital and work my way up to at least 220, if not a little bit smoother than that. We'll see. And then I want to get it finished so I can actually get it installed before our trip, which is just in a couple of days, because, you know, I like deadlines. This is one of the things, you know, as I look back at this project, it would have been nice, but it wouldn't have been doable to keep our other trailer while I built this. I'm able to do this with cash each month, so we don't owe anything on this. It's starting to really take shape with all the walls and cabinets going in, which is awesome. It's just taking a bit longer than expected, but I'm able to do it cash. And yeah, so it would have been nice to keep the other trailer so we could go camping, because we still have been camping. We like to camp. And as this continues to progress and get further along, it'll just be easier to get out there and get out camping, because it'll be much more ready for that kind of stuff. So I'll keep chipping away at it, and we'll see how far we get before we take off on this trip. Well, we got the countertop temporarily installed. The reason why I say that is I do want to pull it out and actually finish the bottom. I've got 3 coats of a polyurethane finish on here. Just natural finish, no stain. with the hickory. It just looks great, really brings out the grain. The sink is in place. I've got the drain installed as well. I've got a flexible hose that will click to the end of that, and then we will have a jug down here that we can drain into, but that'll give us a workable sink. And looking forward to getting out and camping. We have ran into a slight hiccup on our brand new 14,000 mile Chevy Colorado. We got a check engine light, and looking at my code reader, it says that there's a body control module has basically asked the check engine light to come on because something going on with it. Called down, of course it's Saturday, can't find a technician anywhere, so we're gonna have to wait till Monday, the day we were supposed to leave, to actually get a hold of Chevy to see what's going on with that. But we'll fill you in on what happens and see whether this trip goes off without a hitch or not. Well, I think we're pretty close to being ready. I test fitted the blue jug down there, make sure it fits. I've got a flexible hose to go from the end of that sink pipe to the jug itself, so we will have a drain. We'll have to keep an eye on the bucket or the jug to make sure it doesn't overfill, but we do have a sink. I've got to silicone in the sink. I'll do that tomorrow. I want to let the finish sit there a little bit more. In fact, I'll probably take the sink out and let it sit. But overall, I think the kitchen is looking good, and we've got 3 bins that'll fit underneath. So I think we'll be doing good there. We've got a curtain rod up here for the bathroom. We've got a curtain, so we'll actually have a door for our bathroom. First time since we built the place. I've got the basics here with the cooler, shoe garage underneath, spot for a couple of clothes bins, and then now we've got a countertop here we can use. And I also, using the steel backing plate that I put in, I got coat hooks mounted so we can hang some coats up as well. So yeah, I think we just need to throw our sleeping bags in here. I got to put all 3 batteries in here, but we'll wait until we get the truck to the dealer, find out what's going on, and hopefully it's no big deal and we can go on our trip on Monday. Maybe just a little bit later than what we hoped for. But we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll go from there. The sink is installed. Interestingly, this sink does not come with clips to clamp it down with, so it is siliconed in. I found a good quality kitchen and bath silicone adhesive and put a good bead on it, and it's already solidifying pretty good, so we're happy with that. One thing I want to do once this trip is over is I want to pull this countertop out and turn it over, because the underside is bare wood, and I want to get 3 coats of polyurethane on that. When I do that, I'm probably going to go around the bottom underneath and also put another bead of caulk down there so that it is well sealed in there. And then of course we got the microwave wired for both inverter and shore power. And so probably down here, these 3 lower sections will probably end up being some type of pull out drawer cupboard of sorts. And then I'm probably going to be building drawers on both sides of the microwave, or possibly cupboards, I don't know. Of course, part of it's going to entail as to how my plumbing is going to be from the bottom side of the sink. That down tube there, that's just temporary, and then I've got a temporary flexible hose that we're going to put on the end of that. That's going to go to our quote gray tank. We're going to put a 6-gallon blue jug underneath there for that, and we'll have that so that we can actually pour water in the sink and it goes somewhere, and then we can appropriately dump of our gray water as needed. But that down pipe will be going away, and permanent plumbing will eventually be going in there. I haven't figured all that out, because one of the reasons why this wall is open on this side is I'm going to have my plumbing vent coming up through the ceiling. I also have my ceiling outside mount cover for that already purchased. It's inside. I found a nice aluminum one, so it's not plastic, but it's got a full cover so rain can't get into it, but allows the venting. And I'm also thinking about when I actually surface this wall, I'm thinking about cutting it out to fit and actually put some backing plates in here so I have something to screw to. And then I'm thinking about cutting that wall out and then screwing it in place instead of permanently fastening it. And my thought with that is down the road, if there's anything, because this is also the plumbing wall for the shower valve and all of that on the other side. And so if I keep this a removable wall, I have full access in here for any type of maintenance down the road. So I think that's what I'm going to do on that. But I think we are raring to go for a journey in this thing. It'll be kind of fun. I've got all 3 batteries purchased through Lion Energy. You only see one there. That's actually my trolling motor battery. We've been using that for lights out here. The 3 that are for the trailer are charged up and inside where they are protected from the cold, because lithium batteries don't like to be frozen. But the inverter is plugged in and working. The charger worked really, really well charging the batteries. When I got the batteries new, they weren't fully charged, and that charged them quick. So I'm really happy with that. So yeah, things are coming along. I'm pretty excited. I think the next big step down the road is to get a water tank, which will go there, and then I can do my plumbing and actually have water lines. The water lines will go behind the cooler. I've got a little slot cut out back here, here in the corner for them to come through. I need to trim the front of the shower pan so that it can go behind there. But then with the way the shower pan is designed with its foam for where you stand, there is a gap along the outside. And so I'm going to use the outside gap to run things. You can see the power line coming out there. There's 2 other holes drilled. Those 2 holes are for my hot and cold water lines coming in here. And those will go up to my shower valve and everything else. So things are looking pretty good. We're pretty excited. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get a good start, and we'll let you know how it goes.
So something a little bit different today. Now that Keith has made some more progress on the trailer, I need to have curtains ready so that when we go camping, we don't just have open windows. And I had made these temporary curtains before. I used safety pins with some buttons on string, and we would roll them up and then loop that around. And that's what we did for temporary curtains before. This time, they're still going to be temporary, but it'll be a little less temporary. I've got some grommets over there, and I've done some measurements. So the plan is I'm going to press these. I've made some measurements as to where I need to put grommets. I'm going to put grommets in the corners, upper corners, and Keith has installed some little L bracket thingies on the wall. So that will loop onto that. And then every, 8 inches or so, I'm going to do some kind of thing that catches so those can go up and go over it as well. I don't know if I'll get that part done, but I want to at least get the grommets on there so they can hang. And if we have to, we'll leave the string and button to roll them up. I did figure out that if I don't have time to do that before we go camping, I can just put a safety pin there and I can loop that over the thing. But I'd like them to look a little nicer than that. So that's what I'm working on today. Of course, I still have my jacket that I'm working on. I'm trying to work on my daughter's t-shirt quilt, which I hope to show some more later. I need to check with her and make sure that she's okay with that being shown. But camping is coming up soon, so this is getting priority for the moment. And I've done grommets before, but it's been a while, so I need to check my directions and make sure I know what I'm doing. Shouldn't take me very long, I don't think. I was only able to actually measure for 4 windows because Keith is actually working out there right now, so the other 3 will have to wait. but I can at least get started on these. So when I get them done, I'll put them out in the trailer and then you guys can see how that worked. Okay, I'm going to be working on doing grommets, and I wanted to video it, but it involves pounding with the hammer and it's very loud, so I'm not going to actually do that part on video, but I figured I'll show each step kind of as we go. So to start with, I have my little temporary curtains and I've marked the circle where I need to cut, and this tool is the cutter. And so what I'm going to do is put this on my little wood block, and using a hammer I will set the cutter on that and then whack it with the hammer to cut a hole. So that's going to be the next step. I did find I have this cute little itty bitty hammer. Isn't that adorable? Which I keep by my stuff here because it's handy for putting on snaps, and it's big enough for doing snaps, but it wasn't working well. I tried doing some earlier with that, so Keith brought me a real hammer. So that's what I'm going to be using, which is also significantly louder. So anyway, I'm going to go get that done, and then I'll show you what that looks like, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so now I've got the hole done. So I need to have the grommet top and the little washer piece. So this is going to go on the front, right in the hole there. And this is going to be the base for it. So that will go right there. Then we put the washer on with the rounded side up. Then we have this little pounding thing. And then we're going to whack that with the hammer several times until we get this nice and tight. And what will happen is this will push, as you can see, it gets wider. So that will push the ring part and it will fold it over the top until it presses it down and it gets nice and tight. So that's what we're going for. Okay, so there we have it. This is curled over there on the back. It's nice and snug. And there's a grommet ready to hang on the little loop. So now I just have to finish the rest of those for the curtains. And then they're ready to hang up. And I need to see what I'm going to do about some sort of ring to pull them up or something. One step at a time. This is the next step, getting all the grommets in. Okay, I got all the grommets on. Yay! So these are ready to hang up. So the idea is that there will be some kind of ring that you would be able to put up on the little L bracket on the wall. Just a couple of them on the length of the curtain, so that you could pull it up like halfway up if you wanted, or you could put it up all the way. I have the idea saved on Pinterest. Keith found it, and it had D-rings, and I don't really like the way they look, and D-rings are not necessarily cheap, but I do have some of these leftover keyring things for an old project. I don't know if I have enough of them. I'm gonna have to count, but I might use these. Otherwise, I was thinking about getting washers because they're at least round. Again, this is temporary curtain, so it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect, but I want something that looks okay, and I want something I don't have to spend a bunch of money for. I also considered getting some plastic tubing and having Keith cut off little sections, and then I'd have little clear plastic rings. So this might be what I do. I'm not sure. Need to figure out how far apart I want them, and then they would be stitched on, and then they would just loop up. So we'll see if I actually get that part done. Otherwise, I still have my little, I don't know what you'd call these, my little tie backs. One's got fuzzies on it. So we had these pinned up here, and then the idea is you would roll it up and then you could just loop this on the button. So it was a pretty easy way to lift it up. If I don't have time to finish those rings, figure out what I'm doing with those, we may do that to lift the curtains up. But at least I'll have curtains on my windows, and that's important because we're going to be camping where other people are camping, and we have no curtains on our windows right now. So I feel really happy about getting this done. This is one of the projects that wasn't really on my radar until suddenly I realized, oh, I need to get this taken care of like right now. or really, really soon. So it is nice to have it done. And now I want to get back to work on my quilted jacket because I'd like to have that done before we go camping. I don't know if that's possible with the other stuff I have to do, but I'm hoping that I can get it done. We'll see how it goes.